Hello everybody, we're going to talk today about the state promotion project. For this assignment, you are given a state and you're going to create a brochure, both front and back, that promotes the state. So I thought I would start just by going to a state website. I picked out Virginia since I'm from Virginia. And when I was growing up, I always heard the slogan, Virginia is for lovers. That's the way that they promoted the state. Every state wants to bring in tourism dollars. And so if you go to a tourism website, actually just search the state like Wyoming or California, and then tourism, don't go to the just straight government website, but find their tourism website. You're going to find the things that they're promoting to try to get people to come and visit their site. Virginia is known for its outdoors, the Blue Ridge Parkway, the fall colors, traveling. There's a lot of history. So we have wineries. Williamsburg is in Virginia, has a lot of the birthplace of a lot of presidents. This is what I heard growing up, and that I know people would see they're promoting road trips here through the Chesapeake. They're promoting come see the history, experience the nature, that sort of thing. So every state's going to be a little bit different, but I would just start out by searching the website and getting to know the state if it's a place you haven't been or that you need to learn more about. Also, you can just look up information, go to the Wikipedia page about the state and find out interesting facts to include and just start from there, okay? Rather than designing your own template, I really recommend you go to a website like gotprint.com, which is here we are. And you can obviously design your own template for your state, but I would save time and just go to a site like this. It doesn't have to be Gotprint. And you're going to be able to find a template to start with on that site, and it's going to be free because you're not ordering anything. You're not actually printing the template. I mean the project. You're just using their template. So I'm going to go to Gotprint. I'm going to go to Marketing Materials. I'm going to go to Brochures. If I click that link, it gives me a page where I have all these different fold ideas that we can work with: trifold, half fold, accordion fold. All you really need to do for this project is the half fold. Sometimes people will do trifold, which means that there's 3 panels that fold in. That's the one that I've used before. But if you'd like to just be basic, it's okay to do the half fold. But feel free to do whatever you want. It doesn't have to be just that. I'm going to click half fold. Now this is the page where you should be able to find the template to work with. So I'm going to scroll and I'm going to look for that. Here's the link for, that's upload, sorry. If I actually go down to templates tab, now I can decide if I want 7 by 14 size or 6 by 9 size. So you're going to have these different options. And again, we see half or trifold. Click the Photoshop icon, click Save, and then you're going to download that. It's going to give you the front and the back in a zip file, and you're going to open that up. Okay? So just to save time, I've already brought the brochure in, but there's nothing fancy about doing that. You just open the zip file, and then just bring that into Photoshop, and it'll look exactly like this. I haven't done anything to it. Okay? So now you can see that if we click our Layers tab, it gives us the top layer and the background, which is helpful. The thing I like about using a pre-made template is that they know how their printers work. And if you were to get a real graphic design assignment, one of the things that you would need to think about is the bleed line. So what is the bleed line? That is just the outermost edge that you would want to avoid going over, or the printer could actually cut that off. Okay, so we have the safe zone here in blue. It says keep all elements away from the blue line. And the trimming zone is even beyond that. It's sort of that, I guess that looks like a pink line to me. But just for safety's sake, you want to stay within the blue line, and it's okay to have the image spill off of that, but you absolutely do not want to have text that goes over that blue line, because it would be a disaster if you ordered 1,000 prints and your text was cut off. If you had a client that you were working with, they would most definitely not be happy about that. So for our project, we want to keep within that parameters. So keep everything within that blue line, the safe zone. Notice that the blue line goes on the inside as well. You don't want text that goes over the fold line, because that's going to be an awkward thing. Okay, you want to just keep the text inside those two boundaries. But again, it's okay if the image spills over, and I'll show you what I mean. The first thing you're going to want to do with this project is you're going to start by researching images that you can bring in. So again, I'm going back to Virginia. One of the trails that I remember hiking was the Dragon's Tooth Trail. It's part of the Appalachian Trail. So I found a nice high quality image. And you always want to go with high quality images, of course, in the thousands. I'm going to take that image, I'm going to drag it down. This is going to go into the background. And I like the idea of having the image spill over the entire back of my project. So I'm going to take that image, drag it down here. I can take the top layer. I can go to multiply. And now I can see those boundary guides on top of the Dragon's Tooth image that I brought in. Okay, over multiply. Yeah, just to remind you, that's the multiply line. So keep that in mind. Now I particularly like this image because it just gives me nature to work with. But you can also have just solid color if you want to do that as well. Now, of course, as you guys know from the book project, I can take my text icon, going to go in, work with that same slogan. Let's see here, let's enlarge that text. Okay. So my text can overlay an image if I want to work with that. It doesn't have to be an image, I'm just showing you a particular idea. But always, just like with the book project, we want it to be really legible. So I'm actually going to take that text, I'm doubling it up. So I just did the shortcut key to duplicate the layer. So if I go over to layers, you should be able to see that I've got the layer there twice. Okay. Shortcut key for that is Option, by the way. You'll see the double arrow pop up. You can click, hold down, and drag it. Or you can just go up to Layer, Duplicate Layer. I'm going to reselect the text to change the color. And rearrange my layers a little bit. So I've got a white, I just created a white text layout with a black drop shadow. And I'm just honestly kind of playing around a little bit. I can go in and move those pixels just a little bit. But my main point is not to talk so much about the text, because you guys know about that from previous projects. The main idea is just to kind of show you that the text can float over the image. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a solid colored background or a textured background, although that's perfectly fine as well. Just to remind you, when you do search for those images, so I looked at the Dragon's Tooth image here, I just typed that in. I found images that were a high quality. That's 2,400 by 1,571 pixels. That's why that image is so high quality, and you can see all these are in the thousands for those images. And you can see found all sorts of images for that. And let's go back to Photoshop for a second. And that particular layer, the the zones that I was talking about, template zones, safe zone, and all that, that's just a layer that can be deleted when the final project is done. So you're going to leave that in there, but once you want to turn this in, for me, the last thing that you're going to do is just throw that layer away, or hide it and save it as a JPEG if you want to save the Photoshop file and come back to it. But don't get thrown off by those things being there. And actually, as you work and you're working on the back side of the pamphlet, you may find all of this information a little bit annoying. So you may just want to once you've finished the main text lines, throw out that layer. Or simply, I guess another option, now that I think about it, you could go in with an eraser tool and then just erase out the background part. So as you can see, I'm doing that right now, so that I'm just left with just the boundary boxes around the edge, because we really don't need all this warning information like that. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. You can see what I did. I just crudely erased it. You could do a better job, spend time on it. But the main thing is just to keep in that bounding box line in mind there. Okay, so I've talked enough about the how to get started. You guys, I think, know most of that already from our previous projects. I do want to show you a couple student examples. These are previous student examples that I've had turned in. So here we have Wyoming, and this is a trifold. You can actually see the lines are still there. They worked with a front, back, and a middle. And the idea is this is the outside of the brochure, and when that folds, this is the inside of the brochure. So for this project, you're going to do the outside and the inside. And the idea would be that if you went to send this to printer, you would upload both the front and the back, and then the printers would put those together in a single document for you. So again, this would be the outside, and this would be the inside. Okay? So the main image that you need to focus on would be the right-hand panel, which is the Wyoming icon. This is the first thing people are going to see. This is the front, this is the back, and then this third panel on the left is the part that folds inside the project. Okay, and I think a little bit more successful project is this one right here, which is Illinois. This is the outside. I like the simple, clean graphic elements of the front. And the part that I really like is the inside. So the outside, which could use a few more elements, but I like where it's going, really pops when you open it up, and this would be the inside, which almost looks like it become a poster. So the inside folds out. You can see what looks like a poster with the fold being in the middle that we're just not seeing. It's invisible. And that's okay to do that. So your text can spill out if you have this idea in mind where it folds out and could be something that people could hang up or something like that. So they just really did a good job of showing off the city. I mean, if you think about a state like Illinois, Chicago Bears, Windy City, I mean, all these things pop to mind. That's what you want to promote. They've actually pushed it in another direction of getting people to try to move there. So, this education element, like graduation rate, that sort of thing is going to be not so much for tourism, but for getting people to consider relocating and moving to Illinois. So it's okay to take that angle too if you'd like to. This is the other project I wanted to show you real fast. This would be South Carolina. I really like the graphic element of the front. They've used filters on the images. Filters are a great way to tie your image together. And you guys know how to use those. Just go up to the filter gallery and flip through those. That's a great way to make your piece really coherent rather than just slapping a bunch of photos that don't match the background. And then they've used a brush or the stylized element of the palmetto tree in the background there. Particularly like the front with the tree, the iconic moon, and the South Carolina text that runs along the front. So this would be the front, the middle, which would serve as the back, and then this part would have folded on the inside. Okay? So it might have been a better idea to actually have this element on the back and this be the part that folds in. So that might have been a little bit of rearranging. If you're confused about how, if you decide to do in particular the trifold, if you're confused about how that would come together, it may be not so intuitive to you. Actually cut out a piece of paper or just use a piece of notebook paper, draw your elements in like a thumbnail sketch, and then fold it. And then that's going to let you figure out, okay, so this falls on the front, this is the middle, this is the back, and then turn it around and do the inside as well. That's going to help you figure out how the whole brochure comes together. This is to be the inside of the brochure. So when you folded it out, South Carolina has some great beaches. So they show off Myrtle Beach, Sullivan's, Kiowa, all that. The lighthouses, art galleries, opera house. I mean, there's a lot of these states. The more you look at them, the more you'll find that there's a lot that you can promote and show off. Okay? So that'll give you a little bit of a start thinking about your states. Have fun with it. Make sure that it's bold and vibrant. And the final thing that I would say is to use a consistent color scheme with your project. So to go back to the Illinois piece, I like how the colors are very diverse here, but they also work together really well. And then particularly for this piece, I liked how for the Illinois, they used the blue and the orange, which is the Bears colors. And that might be a place to start. So if you're not quite sure how to approach colors, maybe what colors are the state associated with? Think about that. So Virginia is for lovers that I talked about. That's red and black, really bold red and black for their logo that they use. So if I'm thinking about Illinois, makes me think about Green Bay. In the state of Wisconsin, maybe the Packers, Green Bay Packer colors, green and yellow. So think about the color schemes, what they're known for. You know, California, which is bright and sunny, may have a different color scheme than Arizona, which is going to have more like muted desert colors. I think that's the best way to sell your state, is to tap into the strengths and the color schemes and the images that would be tying in with those as well. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to write me, send me an email, and I will return I will deal with any issues that come up. No question is too small or trivial. Good luck. Let me know how you're doing.